Number 13, to approve the authorization for the city attorney to create a contract for David Blackmon for videography services to record, live stream, and upload video to social media outlets for council meetings, work session, special call meeting, and committee meetings for a duration of 6 months. And then I question. Is there a second?
A second.
All right. It has been moved by Councilwoman Janie Thomas and properly seconded by Councilwoman Christy Thomas to approve the 14 items on our consent agenda for the evening. Are we ready for the question? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
President Young.
I vote for each consent item with the exception of item number 6. I abstain.
Councilman Harville.
I vote yes with that statement for number 6.
Councilwoman Christy Thomas.
Yes.
Councilman Carmichael.
Yes, but I will have to abstain from number 3 due to personal financial gain.
Councilwoman James. Councilman Randolph.
Yes.
Councilman Jemison.
Yes.
Councilwoman Janie Thomas.
Can I ask the clerk a question before I go to the 2 items? I'm gonna say to 1 item. Number with the contract with Mr. Wayne Thomas, have all of the requirements met, clerk?
Good evening, Councilwoman. I'm going to defer that question to Attorney Madison. He's working on the contract. May I ask Attorney Madison?
Yes.
The answer is yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
License insurance, W-9 works.
Thank you.
My vote is yes.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Johnson.
Yes, I'll make sure I do my homework before I do contract. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, council, for your votes. I appreciate it. We'll From my understanding, that is all of the items that require votes and action from your report for the
That is as listed on my report, but there's one other item that was not on the report that I want to bring to the council's attention. Mr. Black, the council approved the contract for David Blackmon to do videotaping of work sessions, council meetings, committee meetings, and that contract was executed by him and signed off by you, Mr. President, and the mayor. What's come to light, though, is that one of the last clause of that contract recited that the release of that all information videotape was the property of the city of Selma, not Mr. Blackmon's, and that therefore written authorization needed to be given to release that information anywhere to anyone for any reason. That's not what's happening. And my understanding is that information is being posted to several places and being selectively chosen to be posted. So I wanted to make this body aware that that's in violation of the contract that Mr. Blackmon has. I don't know whether or not he saw that or read that or not, but it's definitely a contract. I had to go back to I drafted it, then I had to go back to review it to make sure that was the case, and it is.
Okay. Well, that's just for information purposes tonight. No action is required by the body of the council at this time. But thank you for telling us about that, and we'll keep us posted.
Just go ahead and get that. See, I'm not even an administrator. I'm just a moderator.
Right. Right.
Same thing that you have.
Right.
Danielle Wooten, she's the
Yeah.
she's the admin. But I told her to go ahead and add you. As soon as she confirms that with me,
Okay.
I'll let you know. I'll shoot you a text or give you a call.
Ms. Danielle, are you still administrator over the city site? The city,
I'm one of them.
one of them? Does Madison know that you're the one that linked my page to the city's?
I can't speak for, I mean, I haven't had a conversation with him. I know that previously, you mean in terms of, like when you had your contract? I know that John, at that time, John was IT director. So he was the main individual.
John told me he was moderator and you was administrator that done that. John's on record as that. I just wonder if you had told Madison that.
That did what exactly?
Linked my page with the city's page. Because, can't nobody post unless it's allowed to be allowed to post, right?
No, I mean, when you were awarded the contract, John did. I mean, John had all full rights, the same rights I had. But when you guys when you got that contract, and John, he came to me because, he wasn't actively like managing it.
Right, yeah.
So he told me to give you access to it. So I think I invited you.
Yeah. Because Madison accused me of linking my page, and that's one of the reasons they tried to cancel my contract and all the lawsuits going on.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't speak for anything because I haven't had any conversations with Attorney Madison.
Yeah, okay.
But I do know we did give you access to the page.
Right.
Yeah.
Y'all gave me access.
Right.
I didn't link myself to that. Y'all linked me to that.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know if did you ever accept it?
I never done any. I told John that I didn't want to do any moderating. All I want to do is just let my videos go on the page. And the contract never even said that it had to go to the city page.
Yeah, see, I don't know. I don't know anything about the contract. I don't know anything about that.
The reason I asked was John laid it on you, so.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. As the person that gave you access?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did do that.
Yeah. Oh.
At his request, he told me to give you access.
Yeah. Well, and that is true. That's what he said. So. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
No, but as far as the details, I had no clue.
To do with all of our contracts. Am I right, Mr. President? Are we supposed to have some deliverables? The city's supposed to get something for the public resources that we contribute, even if it's a donation. I think I'm right on that.
And that is usually revealed in the scope of work.
And it's usually revealed in the scope of work. That is absolutely right. And so
I told the treasurer after we sent the letter out showing that the person was in breach that they were not due to be paid. After the invoice came in, I went back and reviewed the date that the person received notice, the 14-day period within the letter to give them a chance to cure the defect, and said the 23rd was actually the last day that the person had to cure the defect. Since the invoice was received on or before that, I said, go ahead and pay it.
So you directed to stop payment on a check initially, is that my understanding?
Yes.
You did?
Yes.
Okay.
And if they don't conform to the terms of the contract, they should not be paid.
You have that authority to stop payment?
Yes.
You did. I don't think that's right. I'm pretty sure the council is the only one that has the authority, the only body that has the authority to stop payment.
Can the council?
Yes.
Okay, the contract calls for specific things, one of which is to not release any of the material generated at these meetings without approval from an authorized individual.
But it also says that you're going to go live. It also says that he's going to go live with it, which is immediate release.
Who said he's going to go live?
That's what the contract says. He's recording live. So it's immediate release.
No, it's not immediate release, he's videotaping it.
On live.
It's released
on
after.
Facebook Live. He's live, he's recording you right now on
He
streaming.
releases after videotaping.
Listen, what
Yes.
There's an ancillary matter, incident to this, that I actually wasn't intending to bring up even necessarily with my report, but I think it bears mentioning here. The individual, and I've noticed I've never called anyone's name. The individual involved in this contract has shown up at various departments in the city, in one instance or some instances, asking for information. In other instances, repeatedly insisting and demanding, and I'm being told by department heads and my secretary, banging on doors and getting loud and disruptive. Banging on my door. Let me, no, this is a part. Banging on a closed door, shouting and demanding to see me when I'm not even present at my office. And my secretary was intimidated and frightened. Now, if that's funny, then I don't know what the criminal misdemeanor code is, which I believe I do because I prosecuted and sat on the bench of this municipal court. If that's funny, then what's happening is that person is going to be encouraged to do it again necessarily.
Okay.
And
Well,
that could result in criminal action.
I believe this is not the best forum to bring this in right now because the person might not be allowed to respond and all of that. The whole issue's been tabled. And so I think that's what we need to stick to. Let's table this for right now because this is not productive.
I'm asking for certain behavior to be curtailed. That's what I'm
Yes,
saying.
but without a person being able to respond.
That's
so
fine.
let's not
That's
do
fine.
this right now.
That's fine.
As the council has stated. All right.
Listen, I said to the city attorney, and I even sent the president of the council an email when I saw what was going on at the amphitheater in the park out there area, and the disparaging things that were being said about the city that were not justified. Even the former mayor met him at that location to try to explain what was going on with that situation, and had asked me to come down because not the former mayor George Evans met him at the site to explain to him what went on and had the contractor who put the equipment there. My concern was we should not be paying someone to say disparaging things about the city. That's my point. That's my point.
Okay, well there's a line there where it becomes legal and not legal. I mean, that's what I'm trying to get to here because you can create lawsuits and whatnot.
Well,
when it comes to that, just because you don't like it doesn't mean it's illegal.
Well, at this point, listen, I have a responsibility we have a responsibility to protect the name and character of this institution. I'm not talking about the council, I'm talking about the city itself. And we should not be paying someone to put out disparaging information about our community. We shouldn't.
But we cannot restrict our First Amendment rights.
I'm not restricting First Amendment rights, but what I am doing is saying I'm not going to pay somebody to do what they're doing. If they want to do it, go ahead. But I'm not going to pay you to do it. So now I said to the city attorney, that contract needs to be terminated. And if the council wants to reinstate the contract under those conditions, what you know, do so. But I said it needed to be terminated.
And that is
David Blackmon. Attached to his contract in my report copy of the letter sent to Mr. Blackmon on December the 3rd, 2021, at the address indicated. I listed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 paragraphs. The facts that I wish to elucidate a little more specifically are in the next to the last paragraph on page 2. There have been instances reported of postings of selected/edited video of Selma City Council meetings, work sessions, committee meetings with editorial comments by you, to linking of your own pages of Facebook or Meta, if you prefer, postings to the City of Selma, Alabama's web pages or website. 3, personal characterizations of events, video statements, and/or actions of City of Selma elected officials or employees, in some instances capable of being considered as inaccurate, insulting, or potentially creating liability or damage, suits, actions, damages, or claims of every name and description to which the city or any of its officers, employees, or agents may incur.
Mr. Attorney, let me, some of the council members have signaled to me that they would like to request that for an executive session on Tuesday.
Have no problem.
All right, so we will refrain from that at this time, and I do see your hand, but we're not going to acknowledge you right now, Mr. Blake. But
I have been, my name has been called, Mr. President, and I feel like that it's not the first time; it's the third or fourth time.
Yes, I understand, and that's why we're going into executive session. And so we will not do this at this time.
Consider it closed for this time.
Thank you. Please proceed with your next item.
Number 11.
12.
I'm sorry, 12. That is 11.
The rules. Also want to remind council members to be mindful of what you say following the citizen's request. Anytime there's litigation or the potential of litigation, whatever is said in a public forum is admissible evidence in a court of law. So I want to remind this body that this is not a court of law, that we can hear from our citizens. After hearing from them, we will have an opportunity to make comment or ask brief questions, but we also can refer it to the appropriate department. So let us be mindful of this and also be mindful to be very respectful of one another and those that are slated to be on the agenda for the evening. So even Mr. David Black.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
Just a heads up to the city attorney, this is not narrating this video. I have been videotaping every council work session, special call, committee meeting since 2016. In a lot of these meetings, I was the only record kept. I have always posted the entire videos to publicly available Facebook pages and YouTube. Those pages have not changed. Videos are never narrated. My contract states that I am to live stream these meetings to the same sites. I have honored my contract. I started with this entire endeavor to provide much needed transparency in city government. Relying on the city to provide transparency on its own is not an option. We have seen the last administration as well as this current claim that they want transparency when they do everything in their power to obstruct the process. The current mayor has been known to turn off his live streams when meetings directions turned against him and has removed council members' comments from an official page to hinder the truth from seeing the light. My voice has been silenced by this council as well. After being defamed in a public meeting by the city attorney and the mayor, I was denied a response. That denial to address my name being defamed in a public meeting has covered 5 different meetings. I have turned in several different notarized letters and been received into the clerk's office for information that I believe is related to the attack on my contract. I have had threats made against my family. I have been arrested in these very chambers just 2 hours after stating to the chief within earshot of the mayor that I feared that the attack on my family was in retaliation for my efforts to expose some suspected ill doings in city government. The stopping of my contract, as stated by our city treasurer multiple times, was stopped on a verbal directive from the city attorney and from the mayor. The accusations outlined in the certified letter from the city attorney are false. In that letter from the attorney was a demand that I destroy all video evidence, including any paperwork. It came with a threat if I didn't comply. It is a crime for any government official to demand of me to destroy potential evidence. Part of the information I requested of the city is being received, being believed to be evidence of some of those laws broken. The mayor stated that he was the one who stopped my contract because, in his word, my handicapped daughter made a video of the park that was not in compliance with ADA regulations. That video led to a formal official offering to help resolve the issue, but has been derailed by this current administration. When I went to the Recreation Department to inquire about the progress of the repairs, I was denied entry into the office. I was told in early February, standing outside that office, that an estimate has been received in late January, that it was doable, but it needed to be sent to the council for approval. That information has still not been sent to council. I am being treated different from other contractors. The language written into my contract is written with requirements that no other contractors are subject to. I am not the one in breach of my contract, but in fact, I'm providing more transparency than this administration actually wants. The city's claim is an effort to stop that transparency. I am requesting that because of this breach, the city pay my contract out in full. I am also requesting that all personnel responsible for these unlawful acts to be addressed. I just want to be treated the same as everybody else and not discriminated against because of who I am. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Black. We appreciate it. Council, any comment? Thank you, Mr. Black. All right. Yes, Councilwoman Jamie Thomas.
This is unfinished business dealing with David Blackmon. You know, it's been months. The last time we had that executive session, we were supposed to come back. I'm talking.
Yeah, go ahead, Councilwoman Jamie Thomas.
You know, we said we were supposed to come back with the information on what the Alabama League of Municipalities didn't never happen. So Mr. David Blackmon came before us, and I understand him, and I believe in doing right. Mr. Blackmon, we gave Mr. Blackmon, we voted a contract for Mr. Blackmon. We did not dismiss his position. Mr. Blackmon has been in a finance situation with his family, with his daughter. Cut his income off from him being taken care of.
Do you have a recommendation for us?
My recommendation is to do what Mr. Blackmon came before us. Pay him out his contract, and we'll do.
Okay, so are you making a motion?
Yes, I am.
That we pay Mr. David Blackmon the remainder of his contract and also pay him whatever he's owed that has not been paid?
Yes.
Is there a second? Is there a second? Call him one more time. Is there a second? Okay, the motion is died for the lack of a second.
Okay, well, citizens, y'all remember this. I'm gonna say the legislative branch remember this, that we voted to give Mr. Blackmon that contract.
Okay.
And he based on his income where he had to take care of his child. This man have not received any check or anything, and his finance is down at this point. Now, I did what a legislative representative supposed to do, because we gave him the contract, and the mayor interfered and stopped his contract. We even brought it to the executive session to go back, and it never got done. Nobody never came back with the answer. And I think that is unfair to this body of legislators to do what we got to do.
Okay, thank you. For the record, it's been notated. Councilman Harville and Councilwoman Thomas.
So what do we need to do? I mean, he's under a contract.
He
gotta
came-
pay him. What do we gotta do to get him paid?
He came before us.
That's kind of what she was making the motion to do.
Well, no, she made the motion to pay his contract out.
Oh, okay.
And then he remains
So,
in terms.
well, is there an alternative motion that someone wants to make?
I mean, I'll make a motion, we pay him what we owe.
Is there a second? Up to present day. Is there a second?
Second.
All right.
But I do have a question.
Go ahead, Councilwoman.
Why do we have to make a motion to pay him when we already voted?
We have a contract.
Well, I think that there was a legal question as to whether or not, the mayor had the authority to cancel the contract without our approval. Or the, so, that was the question that was presented legally. But for the record's sake, I think, the council is more than able to make this, vote on this motion that's been presented for a clear record. All right, so who seconded that motion by Councilman Harvey? Who's, oh, sorry, Councilman Jefferson?
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. But can we, get some advice from the attorneys, the legal, what way we do this,
Well, we went through that procedure with the attorney, and what we were doing was, we were supposed to be presenting a question, and the attorney agreed. We were presenting a question to Alabama League of Municipalities, and we have not gotten a response back yet. Because we've done what we needed to do, and now we're waiting on the mayor to present his facts. And so that's where we are on that.
And my question to this legislative body, the league knows that we as elected officials should know, we put a contract in, Mr. Black. We voted for the contract.
Okay.
And we did not terminate his contract.
Okay.
And we did the proper procedures
Yes,
as,
ma'am.
and it never happened.
We do have a motion, somebody seconded Councilman Harvey's motion. Was it Councilwoman Thomas? So we do have a motion that's been made and properly seconded. Are we ready for the question? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
President Young?
Yes.
Councilman Harville?
Yes.
Councilwoman Christie Thomas?
Yes.
Councilman Carmichael?
This is to pay out the terms of the contract.
No.
Pay him what we owe him today.
Today.
2 days. Okay, yes.
Councilwoman James?
Yes.
Councilman Randolph?
Yes.
Councilman Jemison?
yes.
Councilwoman Jamie Thomas?
State for the record, put this on the record. Councilwoman Thomas is voting for him to get his updated salary. And for the mean term of his contract, I'm expecting an answer from the Alabama League of Municipality, which we asked before, to come back and tell us about his contract, and was he in any violation of anything? We need to get that answer. To continue out to further out his contract, because we're gonna be back at the same problem.
Okay, it's duly noted.
I need a vote. What is your vote?
Did you write what I said?
I did, but is your vote yes, no, or you abstaining?
My vote is yes.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I didn't.
Yes.
And we have one more.
Councilman Johnson?
I'm gonna vote no, it's just so confusing to me.
All right. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Now, any other new or All right, now we'll move on to our next speaker for the evening, Mr. David Blackmon, and he's here to discuss requests for non-payment of services. Mr. David Blackmon.
Good evening, council.
Good evening.
We'll be a little bit more formal with y'all today. My name is David Blackmon. I was contracted originally by the city council with a unanimous vote to provide video for all the meetings. I have dutifully 100% done my job. I have been turning in my invoices that have been signed and turned over to the treasurer since December. It's been 6 months and I have not been paid yet. And last Tuesday, with a vote of 8 yeses and 1 abstention by Mr. Johnson here, y'all voted to have the treasurer cut my check Friday. When I come Friday, I get here and City Hall is vacated with just a skeleton crew, and there's no check to be found anywhere. I did my job. I provided all the stuff, and I'm asking here tonight that y'all direct the treasurer again to cut my check tonight. It's been done with other people before when they was not paid. It's time to get this done. 6 months is plenty of time for this to go on. And that's all I have to say to y'all, and I appreciate y'all.
Thank you, Mr. Blackman. Council members, are there any that would like to make comment or question regarding citizen Mr. David Blackman? Councilwoman Jackie Thomas.
To this legislative body, I would like to address Mr. Davis, which we did vote on. Also, during this weekend, last week when we were in our training, we have an opportunity to address issues that are right on cards, that things that we need to find out if it's legal. Who dismissed contract? This was addressed during our training at the Alabama in Tuscaloosa. And that question I put on there, and it came out the answer. They told us that if Mr. David contract, that this body of the council that was in there, if anything that was in that contract defines of any area of saying against him that was rolled up in that contract, that the council has the right to dismiss that contract, not the mayor, because we were the one that did the contract. And also, we took the notes, and also we videoed the whole session, because it was very important to get to work to get the right answer to what we needed. The contract was did by this body of the council. We voted, and we did not dismiss his contract. And they told us to look at the contract. Anything in that contract that was against what was rolled up in that contract to say for this body of the council to dismiss it, then we had the right. But not the mayor did not have the right. And the president was present at that time, and he could verify the same thing that was addressed. And it was addressed by a real attorney. We had two from the league, and we had an attorney that's sitting there in the seat. There were a lot of questions that were addressed from different council members from different cities on the situation they were having. And this was one of our situations that we needed to take care of.
Thank you. Any other council members have any comments or questions? Mr. Blackman, in regards to any action tonight, this is a work session, so we can't take any votes directly, but we can take votes on Tuesday at our official meeting. All right. Any other questions? Hearing none, thank you, council.
Also, I would like for this to be for the record that we voted, this body of the council had voted to take care of Mr. David Blackman, the last council meeting. And it did not happen because of our treasurer had said that she couldn't pay him. But I would like to say this, once the council make a vote on paying, the council makes this vote on paying Mr. David Blackman, it should have been paid off. So I'm asking this council again. We have got some clarification on this, and I would like for us to see that Mr. David Blackman get his pay, and we move on, because we have carried this too long. Once this body of the council make a vote, we already found that out. I was a council person that I would tell this body of the council, I was at the league this weekend, Wednesday, 3 days, and I did write the question to get the clarification. I wrote the questions which we had, but no offense to you, Mr. Majors. And that's why I say, when we say our league, there's legal advice, but we had an actual attorney that was sitting there beside two league representatives for the Alabama League of Municipality. And the attorney addressed the question about who can cancel contracts, and they made the statement. We were the one that did the contract, so the council would have to be the one to cancel the contract. And they said if there was nothing specific in our contract, the way the mayor had said direct for him to be, for the contract to be, dismissed. And, with the answer that I got, so I did get my answer, so I brought it back to this body of the legislature, that, we need to direct, ask our treasurer to pay Mr. Blackmon.
Mr. President.
Yes, Attorney.
The treasurer is in a legal bind. She's not in a financial bind. The very point that's being made right now by Councilwoman Thomas is that she asked a league, someone at the league, an attorney, to weigh in on the status of a legal matter in the city of Selma. The League of Municipalities is an advisory board only. They have a right to advise you on anything you ask them about. There were actually two motions made. The first one was failed and the second one succeeded. There was some deliberation even among this body about what was owed. And I submit that's another part of the bind in which the treasurer finds herself. She's being told to pay how much, for what reason, and the answer comes back because the council says to pay. Well, that's normally plenty to get something done, but how much? Was this contract terminated lawfully? Councilwoman Thomas is saying she was told, no, it wasn't. And I'm saying, does this person even know, asking if the person even knows all the facts on the ground? So there is some confusion that needs to be cleared up. And I'm not saying it can't be cleared up, but to put the treasurer in an even tougher position and to tell her to pay something when we don't even agree on the legal status of the contract, I think is a problem.
Councilman Harvey.
First of all, whether you cancel the contract or not, Mr. Chairman, you still owe David the money. It doesn't matter. It doesn't, you can stand here and say that the mayor had every right to cancel that contract. It's a moot point. If you canceled it, you still owe him the money. So, I mean, this is a bunch of, one of my favorite German words, baloney. My motion was clear that we paid David Blackmon what he was owed on his contract to date. I mean, how was that confusing? I mean, I don't get it. And even if you cancel the contract, you still gotta pay him. I mean,
Council Secretary.
Thank you, Council President. I was on that email thread and it was asked of me, was the contract canceled? I stated from my recollection, the council did not void, discontinue, end, or stop that contract. The payment was stopped verbally. There was nothing in writing sent to council to say, stop this contract payment. It was a verbal stop. You all made a motion, it passed unanimously with one abstention. In the same email thread, I was also asked if I could let Mr. Blackmon know that he could not be paid. And I stated in there, I don't feel comfortable doing it, and I give you exact words without the email in front of me. It should come from the respected personnel. So I would say, one, if the contract was canceled or stopped, that's totally council's jurisdiction. Council did not do that. Two, if council made a vote to pass, that's a legal vote made in a quorum in a meeting that council holds. That should be on. Now, if it's otherwise, let's do that. But we have other things that's pending behind this, that if we just take one verbal word for one contractor, we'll wind up getting ourselves in a world of trouble. And I know that personally because in 2020, my contract was stopped. And I had to get my attorney involved to get my money. So I know how it feels. And I'm only stating facts. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Secretary. Councilman Carmichael.
I too forgot the opinion from the league way back when that only the council has the authority to stop payments. So nobody else has authority over the finances, not the attorney, not the mayor. It takes a vote of the council to stop a payment. So we need to make sure we're clear on that moving forward. If there's a payment that needs to be stopped, you gotta bring it to the council so we can vote on it to stop it. So the payment should have never been stopped. The binding. The payment should have never been stopped. We still owe the money.
Then how much do you owe them?
You go from the date, the last time you paid him, from the last paycheck, the last payment he got, from
And was,
that date.
and was that included in your motion and in the order to the treasurer? You said to date, I think you said to date.
Up to the,
But from what date to what? That's all I'm asking.
secretary.
Whatever the term of the contract is.
And that lies the question. It's not belonging,
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to pay out the terms of the contract.
Is there a second?
I second.
Yeah.
It's been moved and properly seconded to pay out the terms of said contract of Mr. David Blackmon. It was moved by Councilman Carmichael and properly seconded by Councilman Harvey. Are we ready for the question? So that we can get this clear for the record. It was moved by Councilman Carmichael, properly seconded by Councilman Harvey to pay out the contract of a Mr. David Blackmon. Are we ready for the question? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
President Young,
Yes.
Councilman Harvey,
Yes.
Councilwoman Christie Thomas.
Yes.
Councilman Carmichael,
Yes.
Councilwoman James, Councilman Randolph, Councilman Jemison,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jamie Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Michael Johnson.
Again, I'm gonna stay because we all over here.
Will you please read back the results of said vote, Madam Clerk?
There are 7 affirmative votes and 1 abstention.
Motion passes. Hopefully,
Should be 2 abstentions, right?
2 abstentions. Councilwoman James and Councilman Johnson. With the affirmative vote of the majority members of this council, hopefully, Mr. Blackmon can receive payment based on the vote. Hopefully.
President Young, this contract has an expiration too, so you're saying through the remainder of his contract.
That's what the motion is.
Pay out
Terms of the
the
contract.
contract.
I just want to reiterate.
It's
that
just
there's
getting clarity.
An end date, an end date.
Absolutely.
And I believe Councilman Carmichael has cited law that only the council has the authority to cancel or terminate payment. It takes a majority of affirmative vote of the council at a called meeting to terminate a contract, to stop payment on a contract. A recommendation can be received by the mayor or the attorney. That is a recommendation. But in order to cancel a contract, it has to be a majority vote of the council. Because only a majority vote of the council can approve a contract. Thus, if it takes a majority vote to approve, it takes a majority vote to cancel of a duly elected council in session. Councilwoman James.
Okay, I just want you to state for the record that I abstained during the original vote, that's why I abstained now.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. And that will be recorded in the record.
I would certainly hope that Mr. Blackmon would fulfill his duties as defined in the contract, even though he will be paid in full for that contract. Certainly hope he'll live up to his end of that contract.
Thank you. Now, are there any other matters that need to
I do have 2 more quick things. I know this is a sore subject, but I think we need a full explanation. Madam Clerk, if you would, I would like the council to be informed of why we have entered contracts with 2 individuals and they're not being paid. And I don't mean 6 months from now. This is borderline insanity.
And Councilman Harvey, for clarity and specifics, could you state the names of those members?
Yes, I don't know the contracting parties. I don't know the parties to the contract.
Okay.
But that would be, Mr. Blackmon's, recording services and the contract that we entered in with, Mr. Neely for the,
Consultant, MPG consultant.
Yeah, those two.
Yes.
I was advised, by a state attorney that we should get an attorney general's opinion stating the facts, and we can vote on it as a council and get it to the attorney general so that we can get an answer as to exactly what needs to be done. And then it will be an official attorney general's opinion.
If you can prepare that, and at the work session, we can, vote that up or down at our next meeting. All right.
Councilman named David Blackmon, I'm just stating this for the record. On 9/28/2021, council voted by majority to approve my contract. On 10/13, that contract was effective and signed. On 11/23, pay attention to the dates, I filed a request for information on public records with the clerk. At the same day, we had a council meeting, and Attorney Madison added an item to his report that day that wasn't on his agenda. They called me out as violating my contract. It went on for about 2 minutes. The same day that happened, the security guard, William Brown, filed charges with me obstructing governmental operations against me. Now, I wasn't arrested that day. I'll get to that in a minute. On 12/3, I have received a letter that I was in breach of contract that was written by Madison that demanded deletion of all the recordings of everything that I had done under threat of litigation. On 12/29, my check was stopped by Attorney Madison. Invoices were continued to be submitted and were signed by Mr. Young, and this was every 2 weeks for about 11 or 12 different pay periods. Attorney Madison had directed the treasurer not to cut my checks. On 1/11 at the council meeting, in an exchange between Clay Carmichael and Attorney Madison, Madison stated that the content could not be put out without approval, which I will remind the attorney that is prior restraint of the media. Madison did not realize that this was a live stream, and it did not go into my camera. It went straight to where it was supposed to, exactly the way my contract stated. Mr. Perkins said that the contractor does not have authority to set up, this was on that same meeting, does not have the authority to set up a social media page designated as an official city page of Selma. That's never happened. There is no page on my stuff that says that. That's just completely false. Perkins said that a contractor videotaped and posted very disparaging information about the city. He mentioned the amphitheater in the park, where disparaging things said about the city. This was referring to my handicapped daughter's 4th video in 4 years' time over the same exact piece of equipment that was stated there. But again, like I said, I guess he wants to pick on the handicapped as well. There've been 4 videos. Perkins also stated that he is concerned that he shouldn't be paying anybody that was disparaging, the same disparaging things about the city. And yet they're paying the city contractors now that has a list this thick of things that's been said against the city. Mayor said that he terminated my contract, and I can terminate a contract. I can fire you. On 1/20, I sent a certified letter to the city demanding that the workplace retaliation be stopped. On the 28th, I received a phone call threatening harm to my daughters. Now, I don't know whether this had anything to do with this or not, but I asked Chief Fulford right here in this section right here in between 2 meetings if he understood what was being said, and I suspected that it could be some foul stuff going on within here. And the mayor was sitting right over there when this happened, and about an hour later, I was arrested for that warrant, the warrant that was signed 2 months earlier, I was arrested that same night, 2 months after the thing was signed. 2 days after that, I was refused entry into the recreation department. Council voted to pay out my check on 5/24/22 2 times. It was 2 times that they voted to pay out my check. I went to on 5/27, I went to the treasurer's office to pick up my check where all checks are to be picked up at. And she stated the mayor had it, and I have to go to the mayor and ask him. Well, I went down to the mayor's office and I asked, and the treasurer said that, his secretary said that the mayor said I'd have to come back Tuesday because this was Friday afternoon and Monday was going to be a holiday. And I called the chief of Fulford and I reported the theft of my check by the mayor. Now, the sheriff's department has written a report as second-degree larceny and theft and harassment against the mayor. I went back to the treasurer's office on 6/22 to ask for my check. This was 41 seconds. It's been viewed 2,000 times online where there was no confrontation, but yet she filed harassment and had me arrested for that 41 seconds there from that. It's online. Everybody's probably seen it by now. I went to the city hall 4 days later. I didn't know there was a warrant signed for my arrest, and I dropped off some paperwork for a freedom of information request, which I never get. And and my son called my name and asked me, he said, "Dad, you all right?" He said, "I just heard you call. They're calling the police on you at City Hall." Thank you. May I ask, since we did give a little bit of leniency, I got half a second left, and we did give a little bit of leniency, can I have 30 seconds?
If I do that for Mr. Blackmon from now on, that's what I'll be charged with, so.
But we just did it.
I wasn't presiding at that time, so when I'm presiding, I have to go by the time. So are there any questions or comments? You may get your time back if somebody has a question. Are there any questions?
I just want to apologize for giving that leniency to one and not allowing it for another. And I just want to apologize to everybody for that.
Okay. Are there any questions for Mr. Black? Go ahead, Mr. Councilman Thomas.
I'd just like to say this to Mr. Black. When we require
Okay. Are there any questions for Mr. Black? Go ahead, Mr. Councilman Thomas.
I'd just like to say this to Mr. Black. When we require our treasurer, who we appoint over the city finances, once we require her to do what we asked her to do, and it wasn't done, it was done opposite. And I think that this is a matter that, according to under our section code, under the treasury guidelines, the duties of her, I think this is a matter that we should turn this to make over to the attorney with the advice on this situation according to the procedures of what happened. That both of these gentlemen have not received their money. I think we should turn this over to by receiving under the section code that we have with the finance under section code 11-4384. I am asking that our president take this matter, be turned over to Bobby under this section code 11-4384. If the guidelines have not been proceeded according to the duties that we have asked, this council took a vote on and requested that this should have been taken care of, this matter should have been taken care of. These are the legal matters that when things are like this, that our section code under the municipality finance is not carried out. So I think that we need to move this to a legal matter to make sure that this section 11-4384 is being upheld.
Thank you, Councilwoman Thomas.
Resolution R 225/21/22. This resolution is before you. Resolution of mayor to veto resolution XYZ, council action of June 14, 2022. And for the record, I'm gonna read it. For the record. Whereas in accordance with section 11-45-4 Code of Alabama 1975, the mayor of the municipality of Selma, Alabama is given general veto power. And whereas the Selma City Council acted on June 14, 2022 and voted to approve resolution XYZ, parenthesis, note, this resolution was not shared with the administration, city clerk, nor city attorney before, during, or after the city council meeting where it was presented and voted upon by council. And whereas James Perkins Jr., Mayor of Selma, Alabama, does invoke the power to veto said above referenced resolution XYZ because it authorizes the city council to perform executive functions in accordance to state law. The city council cannot authorize itself to perform day-to-day operations. And whereas resolution XYZ authorizes the purchase of public works equipment that has not been evaluated by the Public Works Department and has only been evaluated by a single individual who serves on the city council, and that individual does not have the authority to perform executive functions on behalf of city government. And whereas this transaction raises questions about this city council's continuation of interfering with operations, specifically by approving contracts that supersede its authority. And whereas by way of this resolution, return has been made to the city clerk of Selma, Alabama, expressing my objection in writing within 10 days of passage by the council of the above referenced resolution. And now therefore be it resolved that the mayor has complied with all legal requirements as set forth in the Code of Alabama, sections 11-45-3 and 11-45-4 to execute the veto. Adopted by the City Council of the City of Selma, Alabama, this the blank date of blank 2022. The municipality of Selma, Alabama, James Perkins Jr. Mayor, attest for IDS members.
All right, council, we're not gonna spend a whole lot of time. We have before us a veto resolution, presented to us. Council, let's briefly discuss. Anyone want to raise their hand? All right, go ahead, Councilman Carmichael.
I'm not sure what XYZ refers to. Can anybody, can you answer that, what XYZ refers to? Before I move forward with
Is it regarding the traffic, did you,
the traffic signals?
I think so, I didn't have a resolution number.
You didn't have a resolution number for that?
Right, is that?
Okay. Traffic signals, that was a contract, that's not a permanent resolution, so he has no veto power over that.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's just a simple legal issue. Attorney Madison, you should know that. And unless it's a permanent ordinance or resolution.
I should know what, Councilman?
That the only thing that the mayor has veto power over is permanent ordinances or resolutions.
That's correct.
Contracts are not considered permanent. It explicitly outlines that contracts, resolutions involving contracts are not permanent. So
Your point is correct to the extent it's made, but it's also a question of exactly what he's vetoing in general, and that's the action that he says was executive action by a council member.
there is no executive action.
That's the purpose of the veto, to establish whether or not it is.
Okay.
May I just make a
Go
point
ahead.
clear?
Yes, sir.
So what I did was I asked for a quote for services from a company that specializes in this. There's only about 3 of them in the U.S. And I asked for a quote. I did not negotiate any contracts. I asked for a quote for the services to do these lights. This has been worked on for years, and there was no need for me to negotiate any contracts. So what he continues to say. Okay. Traffic signals, that was a contract. That's not a permanent resolution, so he has no veto power over that.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's just a simple, legal issue. Attorney Madison, you should know that. And unless it's a permanent ordinance or resolution.
I should know what, Councilman?
That the only thing that the mayor has veto power over is permanent ordinances or resolutions.
That's correct.
Contracts are not considered permanent. It explicitly outlines that contracts, resolutions involving contracts are not permanent.
What,
So,
your point is correct to the extent it's made, but it's also a question of exactly what he's vetoing in general, and that's the action that he says was executive action by a council member.
there is no executive action.
That's the purpose of the veto, to establish whether or not it is.
Okay.
May I just make a
Go
point
ahead.
clear?
Yes, sir.
So what I did was I asked for a quote for services from a company that specializes in this. There's only about 3 of them in the U.S. And I asked for a quote. I did not negotiate any contracts. I asked for a quote for the services to do these lights. This has been worked on for years, and there was no need for me to negotiate any contracts. So what he continues to say on his videos for all the public to see on our City of Selma government page, as he calls the council out for wrongdoing, there is no wrongdoing. A citizen of Selma can come to the council with a quote. You got the email from the League of Municipalities stating all of this. You got it. When we had this discussion last spring, we had this discussion and we got opinions from the League of Municipalities. I put together everything with the AG's opinions, which you were fighting, and I put it all together in an email and I sent it to everybody to make sure everybody understood that the council has just about every authority over contracting according to the statute that there is. So you should have all that information, and as an attorney, you should hold up what is right and what is wrong and what is legal and what is moral, as you always say. And this, sir, is just a blatant offense to that. So I don't know where you are as our city attorney, where your mind is, but I think you need to get on it. Things like this are not, it shouldn't even be allowed to be read aloud in a meeting.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Carmichael, yes, and then we're gonna try to move on because we got a lot of other business. Go ahead.
I'm trying to make it very brief. The issue was contracting in the previous contract of an individual. It was not a question of whether or not the council was acting in an executive, a council member was acting in an executive capacity. The issue previously was a contract, and a contract is not, you're correct, a permanent action. So a contract, the mayor has no veto power over a contract. You're talking about a resolution that can very easily be determined to be of a permanent nature if you put up traffic signals in the city that stay up for an indeterminate amount of time. So it's a question not just of contracting, it's a question of what action is being taken to get traffic lights in the city of Selma without any executive input. That's part of what I see.
Okay, all right. I know some hands are up, but we do have a lot of other things that are going on. I do want to just try to wrangle all of this in some kind of way. Now, question. This was done by a contract. We didn't vote did we vote on a resolution on this?
We did.
We voted on a resolution, okay.
And I'll tell you why, because it was a resolution to expend all these discretionary, and I wanted to be clear about that.
Okay. And we do know that the law is clear about only things of a permanent nature can be vetoed. We are. But to offer some, which I think is good as far as the council goes, to know that. But we have a veto before us now that has been presented by the mayor. The council, when presented with a veto, has the option to accept what the mayor has, or they have the option to overrule that veto by 2/3 majority of the body that's sitting to vote. So council, is there a motion regarding this resolution, veto resolution 225-21/22?
So moved.
Okay, this would be a motion to overrule.
Oh.
Okay, I'm just
I'll
making
make a
sure.
motion to overrule the veto.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
After your second point of order.
Go ahead.
I wanted to read section 1145-4, veto of ordinances and resolutions.
Okay,
Pass.
the turn.
What section you in? I want to read it, section 11.
Section 1145-4, Code of Alabama, veto of ordinances and resolutions and passage over veto generally. If the mayor shall disapprove of any ordinance or resolution transmitted to him as provided in section 11-45-3, he shall within 10 days of the time of its passage by the council return the same to the clerk with his objections in writing, and the clerk shall make report thereof to the next regular meeting of the city council. And if 2/3 of the members elected to the said council shall adhere to said ordinance or resolution notwithstanding said objections, said vote being taken by yeas and nays spread upon the minutes, then and not otherwise, said ordinance or resolution shall, after publication thereof, have the force of law, unless by its terms it was to take effect on its approval, in which event it shall take effect upon its passage over such veto. The failure of the mayor to return to the clerk an ordinance or resolution which is vetoed within 10 days after its passage by the council shall operate and have the same effect as an approval of the same, and the clerk shall publish the same as is provided subsection B of section 11-45-8 for the publication of laws and ordinances of said city.
Okay, can someone give me the date that this was passed?
Is it 10 days or 10 business days?
It just says 10 days. Just says 10 days.
10 days.
What was the date?
Evidently, on the resolution, it says June 14th.
And what's today?
Today is the 28th.
So that's been, you said the date was June what?
14.
June 14th, and then today is what?
The 28th.
14 days.
Okay. So it was June 14th when we actually passed. And so how many days do we have? 10.
That's what's the term.
Per law, 10 days.
10 days.
Council, this veto is not in order. He had 10 days to submit that to the council. We have 14 days. Therefore, the veto by operation of law is overruled.
Correct.
Okay.
I want you to go to the next item. Under the David Blackmon contract. Well, that's a different situation. Because under that contract, the city attorney, through observations with the administrative staff, made the determination that there was a breach of contract in the performance of the contract. The breach of contract letter was sent to the contractor and also giving him an opportunity to correct the deficit or to cure the defect within 14 days. The contractor did not reply. The unauthorized use and release of video content, the official content used by Mr. Blackmon to make political commentary. Contract term states all material is property of the city, and he refused to stream directly to the city's account. The city has no access or right to the footage that it should rightfully own. The city council stated that this is their contract. In other words, the city council is planting within contractors that because they vote on a contract, that the contractors are not accountable to the administration. They're saying that they manage all the contracts. The city council voted to pay the contract through the term. In other words, we interpret that as making advance payment on a contract. That's illegal. You can't make advance payments on contracts. And then, upon the contractor demanding payment on a terminated contract, then the contractor ended up being arrested for obstruction of justice operations, of government operations, and that case did go to court. And the contractor, the courts dismissed the case. I asked the city attorney to correct me if I'm wrong, but the case was dismissed only because the plaintiff asked the court to forgive the case. Am I wrong?
No, sir.
Huh?
No, sir.
Okay. When the plaintiff said that he didn't want, there were no additional problems, and he didn't want to go forward with the case, that's when the courts dropped the case. The city council stated the contract, upon contractors demanding payment on a terminated contract, the contractor was arrested the second time. And this time he was arrested on harassment charges. And a no trespass order initially entered, a no trespass order was issued. The first time the contractor entered City Hall demanding payment, I don't know if it was the first time or the next time, but somewhere in there, one of those turns, he came with a gun on his side. And the second time he came, the staff was clearly intimidated. And it was the second time he came, even though he didn't have a gun. It was at that point he was arrested. And now, the city council continues having this perceived as dangerous person enter the building on their behalf with no regards to his prior arrest and the standing no trespass order. Even when the person who executed, who signed the warrant for arrest was needed to be in the council chambers, the council did not ask the person to leave. It actually took the police officers to ask the person to leave the room. These are the kinds of problems that we're experiencing with these contracts. I want to go to the next one. And I want people to understand that I have no problem with these contractors. My problems are with the procedures and the process by which this is being done. Now, under the Edmond Dyke Mission contract, the contractor of record Listen, I said to the city attorney, and I even sent the president of the council an email when I saw what was going on at the amphitheater and the park out that area, and the disparaging things that were being said about the city that were not justified. Even the former mayor met him at that location to try to explain what was going on with that situation. And it asked me to come down because not the former mayor, George Evans, met him at the site to explain to him what went on and had the contractor who put the equipment there. My concern was we should not be paying someone to say disparaging things about the city. That's my point. That's my point.
Okay, well, there's a line there where it comes legal and not legal. I mean, that's what I'm trying to get to here, because you can create lawsuits and whatnot.
Well,
when it comes to that, just because you don't like it doesn't mean it's illegal.
Well, at this point, listen, I have a responsibility we have a responsibility to protect the name and character of this institution. I'm not talking about the council, I'm talking about the city of Selma. And we should not be paying someone to put out disparaging information about our community. We shouldn't.
But we cannot restrict our First Amendment rights.
I'm not restricting First Amendment rights, but what I am doing is saying I'm not going to pay somebody to do what they're doing. If they want to do it, go ahead. But I'm not going to pay you to do it. So now I said to the city attorney, that contract needs to be terminated. And if the council wants to reinstate the contract under those conditions, what you know, do so. But I said it needed to be terminated.
Hi, I'm Sarah. In 2017, I started a Facebook channel called Sarah's Shooting It Straight, where a lot of my videos address the issues at River Park. Well, now we're going to be looking at what has changed and what is not. So right here, I can tell that the grass has been cut, but that just makes the litter and trash show up that much worse. As I said, we have litter and trash, including a beer bottle and bricks covering the ground in the playground area. We have storm damage that you can see here, and the remnants of signs from the July opening of the splash pad still hanging in disarray. Here we have the mulch. We have roughly around 1 inch of mulch when there's supposed to be 10 inches. And over here, if you can see this right here, there is an electrical box that has fallen to the ground and is laying there for danger. And here, with this light post, if you can see that, right underneath it, there is the makings of another washed out area. I'm Sarah, and I'm still shooting it straight.
How you doing, sir? David Blackmon.
Pleasure.
And that's my oldest one. That's Haley Pierce, and this is Sarah Francis right here.
Hey, Sarah, how are you?
So
nice to see you.
We're here, and
good.
Look,
well, we're just about at the bottom.
Yeah, there is no mulch left. Look, and the.
We'll go full tilt.
Yeah, see, I thought it was supposed to be, if I read things right, and you know much better than I did, like supposed to be an inch of mulch for every inch of height on equipment. Is that right?
Well, it's
roughly
on one like this. 9-inch compact is what you have.
Right,
to have.
right.
It'll go in about 2 inches deeper,
right.
and then.
Well, that's what this was. 9 foot. That's what it was. The problem that they had was last time, and Sarah, would you like to come tell him about this?
About the problem
yeah, about the compost stuff. Sarah, tell about the problem that you found with the mulch.
Well, the city was supposed to keep the mulch turned over, but they didn't, and it started growing black mold.
It had mold all in it.
Oh, did it really?
And
since then,
we took and she,
down.
yeah.
I was supposed to have an inch for every 10 inches.
Yeah, what you end up with on
It was a 9-inch compact.
The guidelines are 9-inch compact.
Yeah.
But we're gonna go. I'm gonna fill it up. What I've been doing lately though is going above that and going 10 or 11 inches compact. So
yeah,
it's
because the
actually
shavings.
higher and you can and they can put the excess under,
Right.
and then you'll
because it's going to compact. I know
be long
nobody's
before you have to replenish it.
right,
Yeah.
and I know nobody's going to turn it over once a month to keep it out. But we had problems with grass growing up through all of it. There
Right.
was mold. There was big patches of mold. There was they took. Miss George, how you doing?
Yeah.
But with, the girls come down here and took all that, took that video and all of the mold growing up and through there.
Yeah.
And see, like, well, Haley has to be. Oh, I'm sorry. Haley has to be walked around, or even though she's got a power chair, it's too much for her to get in our car and all like that. So if we bring the walkers don't run through the mulch, and she has to be. So, but it's stuff we can manage. But like on the steps over here.
Yeah. So you got the transfer station.
Right. Yes.
And you're saying that's still too high.
This is 17 inches right here.
Right.
And with the mulch, it was about right.
Yes.
With a full
Just have to
mulch.
have the right mulch in there.
With the right mulch.
That's the key.
The problem that Haley has with this here is she transfers in from this way with her walker, and she has to navigate all the way around to get to the other side.
Right.
That's where she, to have steps on the other side, because there's 22 inches on both these two sides.
Right.
And even for safety reasons, it looked like having an open gate and a 22-inch drop would be. Because I don't know if
that's where, and again, I'm gonna take a photo and I'll put my measurements in there and I'll send it to our guys and just check my numbers to make sure. But that with the correct amount of surfacing, as you said, that's going to get us there.
One more step on both sides,
Yeah, and but it's we couldn't even begin to add one, and that is actually manufactured per the guidelines. Now I can ask, but
so there was never intended for one to be on this side.
That's correct. Yeah, you got the transfer of what we call the approach step, which is this.
Right.
You only got one.
Right.
And then your transfer can be at either one of those locations. And again, I'll measure the height.
Because they come with the same bolt ups as that.
Yeah.
For that side too. I mean, if
22 and a half there.
I think it was 16 and a half or 17.
Top of that is 18 and 22 and a half. That's what I got here. You probably get difference on both sides. 22 and a half, and 18. Yeah, so when she transfers up, when the mulch was here,
coming
in from this side?
No, she was coming in
from there.
You've never been able to get onto that side.
That makes it harder. We got to have the mulch.
Right, got to have the mulch. The mulch will at least make this here up.
I'm gonna put in originally about 12 inches.
Yeah,
so
because it's gonna
literally
pack.
come up to the bottom.
Right. And like I said, and I know you said that so there's no way to put another step on the closer side, being that that's where she would enter from. I don't want to be petty.
No,
you know what I'm talking about. But you see how.
What it does is, you might know, distances.
Right.
So when you put a piece like this in, I'm measuring that at 64 inches. Now all of a sudden I've got a step here, and I've got to worry that slide is not.
But I mean, it's the same exact.
Come off of that end.
But it's the same exact.
If it's the same distance.
If it's the same, it looks to me like it's just a mirrored thing. And I thought about that. Well, maybe it was for allow for the wheelchair to come around or whatever, in which the wheelchair and the wood mulch don't work well anyway.
Let me see what I got here. That's 57. What I've got to do is just send it into my design and ask him that question.
Right.
But I in my 10 plus years, we've never added
an extra.
It's always one approach step, and that's all playground companies, because that meets the guideline. Again, the key is, and this is not just this location or any other. Replenishing, a lot of people don't. A lot of cities, a lot of parks and recs, a lot of church, they don't replenish on a timely basis.
That's right.
And we do tell them, and when I go back and visit, I'll mention it to them.
Well, like I said, for the majority of people,
this is common.
It is common.
This is very common.
And for, like I said, for kids, Sarah, she come up here, she bounds right up on it. She don't care one way or the other.
Right.
But it makes a difference when you're already, limited onto that.
It does.
Yeah, it's a small kid. And we watched a lot of, changes over the thing. And like I said, the kids love the park down here. They like it. Like I said, it doesn't have bathroom facilities, so we got abuse going on of that.
Yep.
It happens because major calls and kids go and.
And this is one thing that's a reminder to me as the rep, and that's to continually. It's not like I've called Mayor Evans and said, "Hey, you need to replenish." I haven't done that, so that's on me too. It's up to us to try to help
up
until
you had mentioned about mulch some time ago. We talked about
but I should be doing it more often.
Right, and a year ago we had mulch in here, but it was so grown up with grass, it was basically just. And they come in here and they took it out, I think, because it was basically a carpet of grass on the top. And it was only then, I think we clocked it at 4 or 5 inches, using the...
Yeah, and it goes away fast. So what I'm going to do, Mayor Evans and George and David, is I'm going to, you're really down to the bottom, essentially.
Yeah,
so I'm going to send you a price for putting in, normally we do a 9-inch compact, but I'm going to do a 10, 11-inch
just where it'll settle onto that.
You put more underneath there, and it won't take as long. You won't have to replenish it as often.
Right.
And then I'll put some notes in there about how often to pay attention to it, with you and the new mayor, and kind of go from there. So and I'll keep in touch. And again, it's a reminder to me as a rep. I see this a lot, and I do tell them when I go to the place to see them. But I don't
cities are so strapped for money, to come up with an extra.
It is.
It is a lot of money.
And it would be easier to do the poured rubber, but the budgets aren't such.
It's
just so much more expensive. I think, Mayor, we essentially had a quick conversation with him. He wouldn't have been able to get.
Well, they love all
this.
They love all this here.
Yeah,
look, talking about the abuse now. The fire department about 3 or 4 years ago had to come down here and sanitize the equipment because, as I said, there's being no bathroom down here. They was going in the tube.
Oh gracious! Okay.
And laying it in the tube, and they had to come down here and sanitize it. It happened once or twice. That was documented on like that, but like I said, we've got no water, and I understand. Like I say, kids, they need water. Well, if there's no water down here, people bring the water bottles like that, and normally it's clean right now. But the volunteers have really stepped up and helped a lot.
And it's a beautiful site.
It's a really pretty site.
Great site.
We've got
beautiful view.
From our point of view, and just like with the parking. My girls can't transfer down that, or the steps on that side. So we come in, we park over at the white, we come in on the sidewalk where she can use her walker, or we can walk with her, kind of like what we're doing now, or two across. But there's holes up around where the bicycle rack and all that, and they dug up all the plumbing. I mean, they're just big old gaping holes that's just left open like that. And I know that's not part of what you do, but it's part of the maintenance and the safety for the kids and all. Down here next to the light pole going out, there's a big hole there at that green box under. It's a big washed out spot. And you remember about a year ago they had to repair that big old cave in of where all those rocks was at. Well, up under that light, that's coming back again there.
Yeah. When you get outside the perimeter, it's always, and you're looking for things. And the good thing is, obviously, that it would have been a huge issue had the mayor not gotten this beautiful gate fencing.
Oh yeah. Look.
River. So
this park is definitely a blessing.
Well,
we're glad that you done a good job.
Before I left, I had all that cleared out.
Well, look, it was too.
You could sit here on the bench, or sit here on that bench, and you could hold.
Well,
Lamarcus
Snow and the volunteers cleaned off from the St. James Hotel all the way to here. This was all done by volunteers because the girls had videos done back in 2017 and 18 or whatever like that, where they sat and made videos. You couldn't even see the bridge at one time.
Right.
And if you're gonna have a part that's supposed to be for the view of the bridge. And you can't view the bridge, it gets to be,
when you first built it, you're right. It was
clear, yeah. But that stuff grows up. It's fast. A couple of years,
2015, I cleared.
It was all clear. Yeah, it was.
All the way down there, we could sit here and look at that water
and on both sides.
You could see them all. Over the years.
And see, we're gonna have. They're marking off now for the bridge floating parade, but you can't see the water.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully they'll.
And I know that this mayor's going to be working to fix a lot of stuff. We went through 4 years where we didn't get anything done in the city, and it just shut down after Mr. Evans left.
Yeah, I know.
He was a go-getter.
I
remember being with him and making a sales call, and it was in the evening, I think, or late, a little bit later, and he was getting phone calls about stuff.
He still gets phone calls regularly.
All hours of the night.
Look, I've never made a call to Mr. Evans that he didn't pick my phone call up and talk to me. And he's got a wealth of knowledge, and up until recently, I didn't realize. all the accomplishments your brother had in the sports world. I was just totally, but on that. But I've got best friends that have known Mr. George since forever.
Right.
There and. But like I said, he's well thought of here.
Did a very good job.
I talked to him in person, and he's going to meet, but he's going to send somebody down. Because I told him, I asked him to send Public Works somebody down in case we had to talk about volunteers.
Right.
But he said he's going to send someone down.
Right.
Two things, Mayor, on that is two ways to save money. Clearly, volunteers are the best.
Yeah.
But if you can't get a group, even a local general contractor that would be willing to cut you. My guys are coming in from Georgia or Florida, and we're going to charge a lot more money than I want to.
Yeah, I understand.
But it's almost like the trip fee has
to
cost
it
a lot
is.
of money. So,
well, you got time, you pay that man to ride.
Yeah. So I'm going to quote for you just the wood carpet, and then if you come back and say, hey, I want to know the install, I will do that. And what we would try to do is if I got my guys close and I know I can get them here sooner rather than later, then we would try to, that would help the price.
Right.
But I would look for a volunteer or a really good general contractor.
Well, we have enough wood sawmills around here now that finding cedar shavings or whatever, oak or whatever has to be, whatever the. We got a mulch company here, so.
Yeah, this is engineered wood fiber, so this meets all the ADA guidelines.
Oh, okay,
so that's what I would stick with that, given that we want to make sure it compacts easier and it's made for playground use.
Right. No splinters.
So it costs more.
No splinters.
Yeah, that's right. It's not the regular. That regular mulch is a problem.
Yeah.
And you never know what you're going
to
have.
You never
know. Compact. The only thing is, how do you want to come in? You want to, they can. I think they dumped it kind of where the mayor's car was
probably
to this side, but that means it's on the hill and it's going to be harder to drag off. If we could get through here and get back and put it even on the sidewalk out there, that's
they bring trucks now. You can drive a car down there. I don't know if you can drive.
I don't know if you can get that truck down there. I think we'll go take a look at that.
But to have a Sarah, we'll be right back. Watch. Yes, you go right here. Oh, hey, Sarah, y'all, okay. Y'all stay back there. They up there playing.
They're good where they are right now.
Good.
How's this worked out?
Well, it's been open 3 or 4 days since it's been put in. It opened
as soon as it put in.
Well, it's been here for several years, but it didn't have any water to it, but they got the water in. This was originally supposed to have been a recirculating pad.
Yeah, I first initiated this at the Park Park, and we're going to have that, and it's going to be sprinkled. Like you said, water coming up, and music and all that, lighting.
And it does work, but it was opened up for the 4th of July for that one day because we had the fireworks display.
Right.
2 weeks later, it opened up for a couple of days one week, maybe one day the next week, and then school come in and they shut it down.
They shut it down because of the lack of water, or
Well, it was supposed to have been a recirculating pad. That's what was sold to the city, to the council, and where they wouldn't have to worry about the water intake because there was no water at that time here. Well, they changed that. Somebody had it changed after Mr. George and all. I think it already done with all that.
I tried to get Daniel to go ahead and do a continuation.
Yeah.
Actually, he tried to freeze on. He tried to actually stop that from being done. Had to make sure you understood that.
Yeah.
That was paid for already by me for already.
For the playground equipment.
And he had to end up letting it go, but he wasn't going to let that go.
Well, look, to having to have somebody down here to work, turn the water on and off when people were here, meant that it has to be when it's open. They had to have an employee staff that sat in a chair right there while she was there. And if it was recirculating, you turn it on, leave it on.
So now they still have to have somebody here.
Yeah, because the water is fresh water now. It runs in and straight into the river.
So it's good now. You can, but you still have to have somebody.
Have to have somebody turn it on and off, and so nobody.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I know they got piping all right there.
I think if he came through here last time,
he come around,
and he won't be able to. Yeah, we don't want to chew up your ground.
And they do have some. They do have some sprinkler system line that comes right through there, right in line with that faucet.
We could come through here if you guys are comfortable with it. I need to go over there. Look, coming through here in that truck.
I've seen the city trucks pretty big.
53-footer.
Yeah.
I don't think. First of all, he's going to have to jump this.
Yeah.
Come down that hill. I don't know.
That's a lot.
a lot of times it's up to the driver, and these guys are good, but they're 53-foot units.
Yeah.
And that's a hard one.
But you know, if the city's front end has front end loader, somebody with a tractor just pick it up a bucket at a time, dump it. It wouldn't take too long.
Well, he could do two things. He could dump it on the side of the hill.
Let it come down.
Further, and so that would put it the closest, but you'd have to drag it off. Or this is a smaller hill. He could come to that edge and put it there.
Right.
You could bobcat it in, or if y'all are comfortable, we can come around. I need to see. He can come. Does he have to come down that hill, or can he come all the? No, you got that blocked off with the amphitheater. So he'd have to come down this hill in order to get here. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah. It's all a ramp just like that.
He probably
all pretty.
won't do that.
And I don't know. It's the same problem going around the backside with the sidewalks and stuff. And
I mean on the other side of the.
Yeah, but like I said, dumping right here and bobcatting in probably going to be your best bet.
That might be the easiest one because this one's going to be more severe.
It is, and going further to drag too. You can go back all the way up to the edge here.
You're right. He can dump it literally right there, and you just got to get on it quick because you got that drain. So the day he delivers is the day they need to do it.
Right.
Because you got rain coming in behind it. So at least you know kind of what the choices are. Right. And I'll be involved with y'all. I'll tell the wood carpet company. I'll say, hey.
And what was
here's who you're going to meet with, and here's kind of what you got, what you're up against.
Right. What was the wood material that you're talking about? What was the name?
It's called engineered wood. Who's the vendor?
No. Just what it was called.
Engineered wood fiber.
Engineered wood fiber.
We call it. The company I use calls it wood carpet, but it's engineered wood fiber, and that's if you look that up, that meets all the ADA guidelines. And it's specifically for playground.
For playground.
The chips are smaller,
right?
And it's also processed with the good wood,
right?
You know, that's not waste wood; it's good wood. So the key.
Yeah, it was good for
compaction. That was what we put in there.
It was good stuff. Like I said, up until about 2 years ago, maybe 3 years, when the mold got into it, and there was an issue, and it was brought out then about the mold. And somewhere between there and then, it just started going away. And like I said, it was growing over so bad for the grass when volunteers, like I said, come in and help get it all cleaned up to start with. And I think a lot of them would just haul out just to get it because it wasn't what it was supposed to be.
Well,
at that time.
One thing to do when we bring this in will be, you can choose to do this, mayor or volunteers, whoever, is maybe to get rid of some of that grass. Now, when we put 10, 12 inches on top of it, it's going to
kill it out.
But what happens is when they mow, if they're spitting grass seed, what you saw was top.
It was
from the top.
It was.
So the guy has to spit it.
He would turn and shoot the other way. Exactly. I had a neighbor that done me that way.
Around the borders, with it going away from the borders, that's really the best way to mow it.
Yeah. And I had a neighbor done me that way for years and blow it all out there.
And so it's growing on top of it.
It's growing on top.
What's happening. It happens all the time. But y'all, I'll be back down once we get the order. But y'all kind of see what the choices are. Whether or not you want him coming all the way around that building, but you kind of see what the choices are. How are you?
Good morning.
Hey, how are you doing?
How y'all doing?
Very well.
How y'all doing?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Doctor, good to see you.
Good to see you.
How you doing, Ted?
Hey, how you doing?
Jeff Wingo,
Hi.
Play World. Nice to see you.
Dr. Hendricks.
Dr. Hendricks, nice to see you. Jeff Wingo. Hey, Charles. Jeff Wingo.
Jeff is the one that put this park in for me years ago.
Yeah, I knew it had come in under your administration.
Yeah, he
Absolutely.
put it in, and so now, you know David.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I don't know him. I've just seen him.
We have dealt.
But anyway, he brought to my attention that situation over there probably needs some upgrades as far as meeting the requirements and all like that. And he's the man that's going to recommend some things to us to do that. Plus, the main thing is to put mulch. Some more mulching in there personally. And
I figured it probably at some time, just over time, that probably is. But now the other,
to keep replenishing.
Yeah, and the other thing is, one of the things that I had we actually submitted a grant about, man, that was probably the end of September, to do a park that's specifically for children with special needs, sensory deficits.
Oh yeah.
Grants
We submitted that long before your So I wish you don't ever ask questions.
Look,
I really would. I'm asking.
Yes.
I'm asking you.
Yes.
If you have a concern, before you post, ask a question, because then when you post, you can also say, I asked this was the answer.
And I can
Here's the
I
plan.
can respect that.
Yeah, just ask.
But the post had been going on since 2017.
Yeah, but I wasn't here.
No, but
she'll do a good job.
I understand that. I understand.
Because you do that a lot.
Yes, I do.
You don't know the plan or what already. It's because some things we don't put out, in
I
public.
understand.
We just do it, right?
Look, I understand your view on things.
Sometimes too, so you can get sabotaged. Somebody sabotage anything you do if they know too much about it before you do it.
Yeah. That's correct.
So I think if you work with her.
Well, we have been asked many times when we go through the mayor that it always needs to go through the mayor first, and I have stopped several times at the mayor's office and not got through the office to do any of that.
But our numbers are public.
Yeah, she's at the recreation.
I understand. I know where she's at. I know.
She'll work with you. I believe that.
Just call and
Well,
ask.
you can do the like the inclusive one you're talking about.
Well,
poured rubber surfacing, which is what we were talking about before. If you get that grant,
that would solve a lot of any wheelchair person.
And that's what we want. And so we won't be able to make all the parks that way, at one time.
Well, while we're here, though, while you're here, we'll talk about some things while we're here, if you got time.
And I don't have a problem with that. That's why we have our Parks and Grounds supervisor. We've got our assistant director. So
and I can show you.
That's my one little set of ears.
Yeah, there you go. But I'll let these gentlemen, get do their things.
So you're going to take us through
everything.
All we really need, and I'm going to get an answer from Mr. Blackmon about, he had a question about an approach step on the other side of the transfer station.
Okay.
And I'm going to get an answer for him on that. We've got this lined up that meets all the guidelines, but he asked a good question I'm going to try to get an answer for. Once we put the wood carpet in there, we're going to be good to go.
Okay.
We should be able to have much better access for her and for anyone else.
And anybody else.
Yeah, and really it's all about the level of the wood carpet.
That's what I was thinking.
It needs to be replenished, and I'm going to put that as notes to when I email it to you guys.
Okay, awesome.
Maybe take a third of it and say, okay, what's the third of this cost? And say in about 12 to 18 months, I need to top it back off. Yeah, and just have that money available in the budget. And that's and I know, but everybody is, y'all got so much money, only a certain amount of budget to spend on.
Correct.
And that's, that does get left out by every municipality. I told them, I said,
this is common. Nothing new.
This is common. I see this. I see
this
all the time. This is not unusual.
No.
And when I go by, I remind them.
Yeah.
But I told David, I told Mayor, I said, I probably need, as a rep, with all my equipment, I need to do a better job, maybe sending out some email blasts saying, hey, just as a reminder, because you can't get to everybody.
No, you can't.
And so I'm going to take a look at that. But having said that, this is not uncommon. Nobody should feel, but it does need to be. It needs to be replenished. There's no question about it. So I'm going to get you a price. Do I need to send the quote to you? Okay.
And to keep in mind too, I had mentioned to the mayor about the possibility of some work coming to just in case, which is good here for you guys. But the idea was, if in fact we get that mulch here, we'll have a volunteer to go put it in. Volunteers would help to save a lot of money in terms of.
I don't think that would be an issue.
I didn't think so either. No. But those are ways to save, because they'll come dump it. And we'll put it in.
Yeah, I don't think that'd be an issue.
Okay, that's good.
And we got enough organizations around that will jump on and be glad to do it. Yeah, I don't think that'd be a problem.
What I'm going to do is just go back and calculate. I've got the square footage, and I just need to put a calculator on there to determine exactly how much you need.
That works.
We did talk about access. It's kind of a rough way in, so there's a few different delivery points, access points where we could go to for your volunteers. So if everything goes okay, feel good about the price, and we get it ordered, I'll probably come back down and meet with whoever's going to do it and go through that again.
Okay.
Because I want it, because last time we dumped it off that hill, and it worked out fine. My guys actually did it, and because they were here doing it, so they were fine. They raked it down the hill. But as Mayor Evans and I were talking about, that's kind of a difficult deal.
Yeah.
So this might be a better spot right here, just dumping it here. But these trucks are 53 feet.
Yeah,
so they're big, they're huge.
Yeah.
It's probably gonna have 50 plus cubic yards in it.
At least. The back of the building.
Yeah, what I was worried about is that hill. They don't love coming down a hill, and unless
I
can come around that
the back of that building.
Okay, I'll go take a look at
that. Around behind them.
If you go around behind there, I think that's a flatter.
We'll mark this area up a little bit, but all we're doing is just you're gonna tell tire tracks were there.
Yeah.
So hopefully we hit it when it's not soft and mushy.
Right.
And if it is, we might want to consider
and we can
option
we
2.
can play that by ear.
Yes, ma'am.
And see what how the weather's treating us.
Absolutely. So good. I've got everything I need. I'm going to get for you, just so you know, answer for you about.
Please, thank you.
Step on there.
I appreciate it.
But I think
like I said, this is the side she enters on and have to make her transition all the way around the equipment to get to a step.
Well, And that was the only place to put it. I mean, we could put an ADA ramp on the other end. We could do that as well.
I said, once she makes it to the steps, she can make the 7 or 8 inch steps.
Right.
You know, like I said, we walk behind her to keep her from, you know, backfalling.
But you could, to solve that issue, Dr. Hendricks, what we're thinking, you could take another one of those ADAs, order that, and we could replace a 4-footer with an ADA to put on that other end in case children do come down off those steps on the other end. That would give you a second one. I could, if you want me to include that in the price for you to consider, I can do that.
You can, and then one of the other things I think that we will do, because this is not the only playground in town.
No, there's 20, there's 21.
There are other playgrounds that don't have this issue. So, you know, and I think one of the things that we probably can do as well, and Mayor Evans, you may agree or disagree, tell me if I'm wrong, but probably we can put out, because we're getting ready to redo the website, and as we're talking about new information for the website, is that we certainly can place those listing of those playgrounds that are already accessible, because this is not the only playground in the city.
You're right. That's excellent. I think
you know,
you should. I think you
and
should.
so there's some where the steps are extremely low. You know, this just is one of the newer ones, you know, that's in town that we were very happy that Mayor Evans put in.
Yeah, you'd be working on 2012 ADA standards, I guess, now.
Yeah, because there are some.
People live all over the
They live all over the city. So this is
what's closest to them, they can go and compete. So
correct.
I think you're correct.
And not all of them are, you know.
I understand.
Yeah.
Well, those meet the standard. They're at the right height. They're at the right height. It's just a matter of having the right level of wood carving.
Right. That's
yeah,
what
they're
I
at the
thought,
right height.
because
So, but
those are some of the
with the mulch in it, it'd be the right height.
Yes.
Without it, they're not.
Yep, so that's all we need, just to add that, and you just have to kind of replenish it. Like I said, I'll put notes in there for you on that. So, fantastic.
Yeah, we submitted a couple of grants, because I know ADM does some things, you know, with the rubber, and you can get some things from there. And we submitted one international paper where we want to do a totally new sensory park and things like that, because that's something that we don't have. So that was recognized, but had you called me, you didn't know that.
We're going to have a talk for you later. I'm going to fill your ear full in just a minute.
You could have said what they already know, and here's what the plan is, and you know, you could have given the right information.
Yeah, I give her a chance. I believe she'll prove to be worth strong.
Yeah.
And then I'll talk to communicate with you about that inclusive playground. We've done
I think that would be great.
And I'd love to work with you and get you a price on when that comes up.
Yeah, I think that would be great.
What you probably seen is I sent her a
I did.
design.
I got it.
It's got the wood carpet in there like we have here. So if you want to add back the rubber,
she sent it to me, and I reviewed it, and then before I signed off on everything.
Good. I'm glad to know you're working on that too. So that's awesome.
Oh no, we're a team. We work together.
Very good, very good. Yeah, they're nice people, Henry, and I mean,
Henry's
I think the most of. I know he worked hard on getting this in there too.
Yeah, Henry.
Yeah, he's a good man. So.
Yes, he did. Oh yeah, this was like his baby.
yeah. I remember he asked us about it, and we really don't do splash pads, so he found somebody that can get that done. Well, we'll get this handled, and I'll be back in touch. I'll email you, and then anything else you need me to do, and I will come back down. I'm going to go walk over here just so I can tell.
You can see. Yeah,
I can tell my vendor that you can get around that building. Yeah.
And then
we'll see if we can make it back through there. Sounds good.
Yeah.
How you doing? Good to see you. Thank y'all.
Okay, thank you.
Good to meet you.
Good to meet you.
Absolutely. Good seeing you.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Thank you very much.
Get you an answer on that.
Yes, sir. Thank you very
much.
much.
We can add one, but again, I think we're fine. And an ADA on the other side might help.
Okay.
So that would just be one option.
Thank you. You ready? Got your notepad?
No, I got ears and a heart. Good to meet you.
Yes,
look, I got ears, a mind, and a heart. So I think we'll be all right.
When was the grant applied for on this?
Not this.
No, the mulch. For the other one. You just said September.
End of September.
Of this year.
Yeah. Yeah, since I've been here.
Okay. Well, like I said.
I came in April.
Right. I know that you make tours down here, right? I mean, you have come down here and looked already, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've been down here.
Did you realize that there was no mulch under there?
I did. That's why I started looking for it. So we
I understand, but
we had to figure out how to purchase it.
Okay. And I'm glad you brought that up because this goes back to my beef with the mayor to begin with.
We had to figure out how to purchase it.
Right. The mayor's had no problem figuring out how to purchase the grass and all the work around that.
So when I was we were asked to submit projects for the American Rescue Funds.
Right.
I submitted several things. The biggest thing that I submitted, and that has gone to the council, and it was a part of the whole thing.
Yeah.
But my thing was, I had 3 different projects. One, most of the playgrounds in the city were put in under the first Perkins administration.
Right. And that was prior to 2012. Well, that's when the new standards come out.
Right. And so, but they were put in at that point. So.
And they kind of grandfathered in to a point.
They are,
then.
but the point is, it's not okay.
Yeah, it's not
right?
okay.
It's
I
not
agree
okay.
with that. Yeah.
So
neither is City Hall not having a push button door either. But
all of that is not okay.
Or in the working elevator.
All of that is not okay, right?
No, it's not. But we're spending money.
But here's my thing. When I came in April, and then when we got the thing for the American Rescue Funds, I said, look, we got to redo the playgrounds all over the city. I called in, I think we got some quotes from them. I got quotes from 3 different, places to see what's going to work to redo all the equipment everywhere. And then the ones that were newer, like we don't have to redo this whole thing.
No. They're just a couple of
But here are the upgrades that need to be done.
Right.
So like this one, there are a few things we need to do on First Avenue Park.
Right.
So
I understand.
right? So.
And the only reason I chose this one because this is central to where we are. This is what's being pushed in the city for tourism.
Yeah, I got
the whole 9 yards. This was the gym.
Yeah, I got you. So
and not that all the other ones don't need everything in there, because I've advocated, and they have too, for child's changing
station. What I want
station.
you to understand is that, from my perspective, in terms of the things that I can do, that was my big push.
Right.
In terms of the American Rescue Funds,
right,
was for us to spend about $425,000, upgrade all
the park.
specifically playgrounds.
Right. And I don't know how that worked out through council. Are they still fighting over all that?
I think they are. But the point is, when they decided.
But I will work on that.
But when they decided to move and do whatever they decided to do, the things that we need that will help children, and because that's part of in our area, that kind of went
right. Well, and while you're looking at those things too,
but the proposal was submitted. The mayor signed off on it. It wasn't something that was blocked, in any way like that.
Right.
It was, but in the budgeting process, when the council made some decisions,
right,
they kind of threw out those things.
See, and like I said, we're speaking about.
My heart just dropped because I went, okay, now I got to figure out a way.
Right,
how can I get this done?
Look, I do understand, and I know that different departments have different grants of money or different monies that they work out of.
Yeah,
I understand all that.
So that's when we started really submitting the.
And I look at things from, I know that all the leaders like to call themselves leaders, when they're actually public servants to work for. And I know that seemed like a small petty thing to think about, but you should always work for others before you work for yourself. The money that was spent around.
If you read Greenleaf's book, there's something called servant leadership. Robert Greenleaf.
I understand that, and I'm not going to get into the debating of all that.
But I'm
just saying,
I'm agreeing with you.
Right.
And what it is called is servant leadership, because what you're saying is
a lot of money has been spent around City Hall on stuff that didn't benefit the public as much as it did and I don't want to call it the vanity of the mayor, but the appearance that he likes to put himself in around with that. And like I said, I don't have any problem with Mr. Perkins other than the fact that I think that, again, they should be servants and not and a volunteer. We have situations like this. For instance, this splash pad. How many days has this splash pad been open this year? It opened up the one day on the 4th of July holiday.
It was
worked it up a couple of days. A week or two after that. How many actual days?
Until October 1st.
How many actual
every
days?
Day. It was open every day until October 1st.
There was
it was only open in the afternoons, and we publicized the times.
When this grant was thing was done, it was for a recirculating pad that could have been turned on and left on without having to have somebody turn the water on off that. And see that bothers me a little bit too. That the original amount of money that was budgeted or approved by the council and all for this went up $50,000 or $60,000, $70,000 to get to turn it into a freshwater pad. They had to bring, and that's freshwater that you had to turn on. The other one was supposed to be recirculating. That could have been turned on in the morning, left on without anybody down here supervising. Without those 5 employees down here working on it.
We didn't have 5
Well, whatever it was that was hired, whatever the recreation, but
yeah, we only had one. There was only one person.
But I'm just saying, without that one person being there to do that, we still have. There's never been any water here, which is a good thing because there's not no bathroom. You know how many times we have sat there and watched kids pee all over because kids are gonna pee.
Oh, I mean that's the nature of
I understand, but this is a public park. You know, it's not a place where you wouldn't want the hobos peeing on it.
No, you wouldn't want anybody
we have
peeing
found
on it, but it doesn't stop it from
happening. It doesn't stop it from happening. But you know, if you have,
on it too.
oh yeah, there's cats scraping up on the inside. They do. They're right in there now.
Stop that from happening.
No, but you can provide a bathroom for the people. The dogs, you may
well,
not.
You know what? Have you talked to planning and development about what the grant that's been submitted for?
Yeah, I know, but those are all future projects. We're talking about.
But you can't do it right now.
But you've been in for 10 months, and this mulch ain't been here.
For 10 months.
Okay, this administration's been here for 10, 11 months.
I was about to say I haven't been here for 10 months.
But
no, that's
okay,
not true.
okay. But the administration knows. He knows because he followed it. He walked down here when.
But we can't build a bathroom overnight.
No, but you could have put the mulch in.
Mr. Blackmon.
He put his grass in. He put his sprinkler systems in, and I don't know where that money come from.
And you also don't know if I hadn't put the energy and the time and the funding so that we could get the stadium back up and running, so that I had to hire people. There was one person when I started. All of that takes time, and I don't think you're being fair.
I disagree.
No, I'm talking about me.
You go ahead.
I don't think you're being fair to me. In the position that I'm in when I walked in a door and I had one staff member.
Look, I understand.
And me and that one person, there's no way we could do all of this, right? Well, I had to hire people. The grass was crazy high in every part. It was ridiculous. And so I had to figure out a way to get some things under control. I'm just now really fully staffed.
I understand.
Mr. Charlie hadn't been here a month. I mean, you have it's not an overnight process.
Well, look, I understand.
I don't want you to think that these things aren't important, because they are.
And we have been actually looking and addressing. I know I don't, but we have been looking and trying to address these same issues since 2017. And we had 4 years. I know you wasn't, but as a citizen, we was dealing with an administration that shut down.
Blackmon, I'm a citizen.
I know.
So as a fellow citizen, please be fair to me as a citizen.
I will.
And have conversation like we're having now.
Yeah.
And please try to hear me and listen, because that's two different things.
Yeah, it is, both ways.
That's right.
Both ways.
Hear me and listen, because when it's like you got so many fires. I hate to use
I
that
look,
word,
fires at the
right?
feet. I use it all the time. You put out the fire at your feet. I use it all the time.
That word, and so it's like, okay, I had to get this done, I had to get this done, and unfortunately, in doing all of that, thank you. You see that?
We got it figured. Yeah, you're right. We can come around.
Yeah,
he knows. We've got several good options.
Great, that's good.
I'll get you a quote very soon.
Awesome.
Appreciate
and you know what else? Let me give you the Gmail account, because sometimes the little firewalls and the email, and I don't want to miss.
Don't want to miss that,
Yeah.
So you got it at Selma dash AL. I got the same, because I got Henry's and I've got.
Yeah, and it's the same thing. But we have a Selma Rec REC programs with an S.
Selma
Rec
REC
programs with an S at gmail.com.
All right, so send it to that.
And I would say send it to both.
Both. You got it.
Because
just
that
to
way.
Make sure.
That way, that'll lessen the possibility of it getting caught in a firewall or something. Because I don't want to miss it.
I'll send it to both.
Okay.
But we try to take things, and I have stopped into the mayor's office several times. Because when I'm in town to go in. And I understand he's got his schedule already made up. But when a citizen can't address, you walk in there now, all the doors are shut. You had to have an appointment to get to the attorney. Anything you want to talk to. And I understand everybody else has their time schedules too to do. But when we take time to go down there and we can't see and can't get nothing done. But none of these issues that we're brought up now have been brought up. Now, they wasn't in your term, but they have a long history of being addressed through Melton, from since 2016 or 17, that has been addressed multiple times on there.
Mayor Melton came in 16, I think?
16.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, and it was brought up many times. And me as a handicapped father who, we homeschool, we do like that, so we deal with a lot of things. And there's a lot of issues that I find with Selma that don't stand up to the reputation that it's trying to put out. And that goes from everything from this bridge I'm sorry. I'll make sure mine might not have been off. I'm going to turn mine off and make sure mine's off too. But like I said, we bring it up, the issue with the water in the bathrooms. At one time, there was some nasty porta potties put out here, and the girls made videos, and we didn't know what it was like. She opened it up, and it would it looked like a bus stop bathroom, which they were porta potties. But and we've got holes that come out when they at the park buried the lines. It was done on this administration for whatever they did through there, and didn't put in compliant electrical things. That got called out too. It got fixed because it was called out.
But did you try to call? I'm just asking. My question is, because and if it was wrong, they're wrong.
And here's what I told.
Or did you call my office?
Here's what I said to my daughter about this thing here. If we put a video out online, you have 100 voices calling to your office.
That's not the way things should work.
But I understand.
I disagree with you 100%.
And you have that right. Well, let me ask you this: you have been here since April and haven't fixed it yet either.
But you're not hearing me.
I heard you.
That's one thing.
That's one thing. That's one thing. Those holes right there that was done there.
How am I going to fix something? And when I walked in, he was the only employee.
I understand that. And I heard you one time say you worked administration. You didn't work out in the field.
And that's the truth.
Yeah, I understand. I heard that.
And that's the truth. I don't.
And I respect. I understand that.
Who knew? I know my skill level.
I understand.
And I understand my skill.
I can't type it all, so I understand.
And what they're not, right?
I understand. But my main thing is that if as a recreation department thing, when you make this
and your degree is in what?
Photography. But I don't have a degree in anything. I'm a homeschooler.
Okay.
But I don't know if that was meant to be a jab.
No, it wasn't. I was trying to ask because I wanted to know what your specialty was.
No. I've been a photographer here and a reporter since 87, whatever. So been lots of documentation. I've been at places. I've photographed with the president over the bridge. I've been involved with Selma forever. Mostly through doing exactly what I'm doing now. Storing of history, and it's just like the recent little thing that come up about the videos and the city wanting control of that. That was an attack by what I seen as. I understand. I understand. But what I'm saying, the mayor used my videos when he was running because he's told me many times and told the county. I know what's going on because I have watched.
And
this man's videos
is as a fellow citizen. I think sometimes that gets lost on.
Right. Look, I understand, but we're gonna walk around and we'll point out some things. We're
all here together.
Yeah.
And
I'm not here to attack anybody. I'm just saying that if you don't raise the awareness of it.
But I'm asking you to raise it first. Not to not do it. That's not what I'm saying.
And I appreciate
That's not what I'm saying.
I appreciate that.
But what I am saying is, prior to doing that.
Right.
And you said, you're a photographer and a journalist and a history preserver. So, but as that, I am asking professionally, is that prior to putting out the story, get some more information. Not that you can't still raise the issue, because that's cool.
Right.
That's cool.
I can respect all that.
But what I'm saying is that when you put it out, you can say, hey, I raised this issue with Parks and Recs. And when I talked with whoever, I was told that, yes, this is on our radar. Here are the things that have been, that they've attempted to do, or here's what has already been ordered, or here's what, or whatever.
I understand.
And then here's what they're trying to do, or here's what's been done to try to help this in the future. You know?
Right.
Because the issue has been recognized, and you can say you appreciate it, you don't appreciate it, but you can say, hey, this is what I found out, and that's no good, or this is what I found out. And the
same way the other way. We can agree that we could argue both points on that either way. But that's not what's important right now.
But at least the message and the way the message comes across, because I finally saw it. Somebody sent it to me, and I finally saw it, and I thought, okay, here we go. This was a part of the American Rescue, because really the way my initial thought
maybe
was,
you should have put it out that we are working on
dog.
that before it got brought out, though. So we could argue that both ways.
We could, because...
And it doesn't solve either of our problems.
It doesn't.
Main thing we want to do is just get it. We got right next to where the old washed out hole that was repaired a year ago here, the cave in. There's another.
I just remember hearing something about
it. Yeah, it was a cave you could rode a dump truck in.
Oh wow.
And but right there at that light pole, there's another. It's another washed out going on. And I know the people that's cut the grass have seen it because they've cut over and around it like that. So they know there's a washed out hole there that's going down that same line of pipe, or the one pipe right beside it. It's going to be the same issue before. Now, as a citizen, I shouldn't have to come out here and be telling them, because these people, the rec department and your job, I mean, this is your job to surveil this stuff and look before.
That's why Mr. Charlie hadn't been here a month.
I understand.
He is the Parks and Grounds.
Yes.
I had to get somebody.
Yes.
That this is what they do.
I understand. I do understand that you had no help.
I finally got somebody.
Look, I can appreciate you not having it, because I watched 68 families dismissed for no reason.
You know what you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and somebody with the knowledge base that can see something and say, hey, we're getting ready to have an issue here, just what you're saying.
We're fixing to have a viewing of the bridge. We're marking out now for what I guess for the boats for the
Saturday events for Saturday and Sunday.
Okay, for the events of that time like that. But we got holes up there that if somebody stepped in would fall into, that's not being addressed. It just seemed like to me that things get, and in my mind, just like the splash pad opening like that on 4th of July weekend, as a look, we're going to make this showing right here to make it look good, but we really haven't done all the work that prepared it to get opened up to begin with. There's no water here, there's no bathroom here. When you get 200 or 300 people walking around here with no bathroom, this is not a public urinal down here. That should be day one. There's no bathroom here. That should have been the first project that got addressed before anything got addressed, in my opinion. And it's just my opinion.
Yeah. Like I said, I believe that Charlie, along with Doc, and
yes, I agree.
They're identifying things now. And so these people just came on board.
I understand.
There's a lot of things that's been neglected for years.
That
need to be done. So now they're trying to pinpoint this stuff. And
that's what I did. I just pointed it out.
By the time the spring comes, about that time, all this will be a gone.
Or at least.
Yeah. A work in progress.
Progress.
Like I said, we got the mulch coming in. We got this problem here, I guess, working on right now. Like I said, I guess it's going to have to go to council to get the approval of money.
Depending on the amount.
Right. I don't know what this stuff costs.
It just depends on the amount. Anything, and honestly, if it's more than, we can't spend more than $5,000.
I know.
I don't agree with that.
I watched that bill. I watched that battle many times too.
I could have something done, but I got to wait
2 weeks.
Go through, and it can be done, and I don't agree with that. I think that is very,
and I don't mean to imply that you're not.
That is very constraining.
But yes, and I understand having your hands tied. From the outside, we see the mayor spending money on his place, and that does irk a lot of people, not just me myself, because look, I set myself up 4 or 5 years ago to be a conduit to those 68 people that was laid off, and before they was laid off, and city workers still today call me and said, look, I can't say nothing because if I do, I'll be gone. And that works. Look at department heads, Miss Renita went away, because she didn't agree. There are other ones.
I think we need
to leave that.
I will.
That's not really why I'm here.
Let's focus on.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying that.
That's not why I'm here.
The reason I post online is because I have employees that contact me and said I can't say nothing. I need a voice out, and that's the reason that the whole posting got started anyway.
I think if you get somebody get that, then go to the head, go to the people that can give you some dialogue before you print it. Before you put it out there. So if they want to tell you all this, sometimes that stuff is good, and sometimes it's not. So
I understand that.
People have agendas. They have different agendas.
And they have agendas.
But you chuck a rock in the water, it all makes ripples, and it will settle.
People only know from their own perspective, right? And so there could be other things going on, because I have no idea who it is or what it is, and nor do I want to know. but a person only knows from their perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get to people who are supervisors and a department head, they're going to have a different view and may happen to have more information.
Mm-hmm.
So all I'm saying is, at least I can only speak for my area. And all I'm saying is majority of the things that, actually all, because even the football piece, when that went out, and I'm saying, where did that come from? Because if you call the office.
Well, it come from a coach under you.
They don't work
I understand.
for the city.
But it was told to me
and it was wrong.
by this person. Well, yeah, that was a coach had left the office and said this is what it was going to be. That's where that comes from.
You didn't verify the information that you got, and that's my issue.
Well,
you should have called and said, "Is this true?" Because guess what? Because if it was true, then you cool. Yeah. But had you called, and I would have said, "Come on down to the office and see all this stuff we got in here."
You have a way of contacting her now.
Yeah, I do that.
Yeah. Let's do
just
that.
Call, just call.
And we're not fussing, Mr. Evans.
But I'm pointing out a better way to communicate.
Right.
And trust me, I want that. And as a former AD, divisions 1, 2, and 3, I had parents, alumni, everybody coming from all over the country and all over the world. So, and everybody's going to have their opinion, and that's cool, and it's good, and a lot of good can come from that. So I don't want to squelch it at all.
Right.
But all I'm asking is that if you would just ask a couple questions. Hey, this is what I was told. Is that true?
And a better way to communicate your what you already got done is to let people know that is, look, we have a problem down here with this, and we were doing this. If it would have been put out on your side before, I wouldn't have had to address it either.
Oh, and I can agree with that. And I think that's one of the things that, like with the Fix It Fridays, Recreation just hadn't had a turn in that platform at this point, so that we can say, like I think the magistrate went, you know what I'm saying?
To be very transparent, you have to be out and open ahead of all of it.
Yeah.
And see, that's where I feel like a lot of it doesn't.
We haven't had that. Our turn hadn't come up yet.
And I've addressed, like I said, the difference in what the splash pad cost and what was sold to the city, how all that whole freshwater versus recirculate. But when you're talking to people, they put out the fire at their feet. And when they turn around, you're not the fire at their feet no more. So and going and talking a lot of times gets a lot of us that same thing. I hear you, and that's the last we hear of it.
Yeah, but
and it's not saying you're not working on it.
I'm not cut from the same cloth.
I know.
What I'm saying is, don't judge me by whoever was in that seat in the past. You have to give new people.
Work on the and I will. Work on the bathroom. Get us some water because the water's already running there. Just needs a knob on it. And fix the holes that's there. And if you can get a step on this side here, it would keep us from having to transfer around. Yeah, he's working.
Jeff's gonna send all that in a
right. And if you could get that, rubberized, that would even be better because we can use the wheelchair.
You didn't even know we had put that grant in, so that we can get that. So, but I'm
saying,
I
didn't know because you didn't put it out there.
But I shouldn't have to put every little thing out there. You're just trying to get it done.
I believe you're doing a good job. I know you're trying.
I know she's trying. I'm not
tired. It's a lot of things.
And a lot of
and you got to get permission. You got to get permission to do something. Even permission to talk about something.
That's the truth.
So I know I've been there.
And see, that was another thing I talked about at the meeting.
With the pool, I had the money to fix the pool. The council wouldn't even vote on it.
Look, I understand. I was there, and I'm not.
What can I do?
Look, I don't give council a break either. I promise.
What can I do? And that hurt my heart because we could have had it done.
Yeah.
We had the money from the Edmondites, which would have gotten it under the 50,000.
Speaking of which, the Ammonites have approached me. See, I get approached by all of them to look for the video of the how that lodging fee was being, because they thought they were still supposed to be getting that.
No, the previous council discontinued that.
Yeah.
On the Dario, they
took
that out. They took it out of that whole money. And they took that out of there and took from the YMCA too.
And took from the YMCA too.
That was a council decision.
Yeah, and like I said, believe me, I've got.
My point is, we had the funding in the budget to fix the pool.
Right.
The council wouldn't vote on it.
Right. And like I said,
so my hands are tied. So now, what I'm doing at this point is crafting a plan to give to the mayor, so that we can do a capital campaign for all of the parks, so that we can get these things done. And we're going to have to, and there's funding out there, not just grants, but I mean, people will donate and be willing to put their name on some things, so that we can get it done. But that's not an overnight process.
Right.
That's a long
but ADA compliant, if there's been a private business violating ADA, you get 90 days. it's going to be 18 months before the elevator gets fixed. As the lesser of people, which is you always work as a politician for the lesser of those.
I'm not a politician.
Well, I understand,
I am not a politician.
But you're working to make, fix those that can't help themselves. Like
and that's
that.
The whole point.
Oh, I just got a text from there. He needs you back at the office.
I'll come back.
Okay, there's no problem. But look, I will ring your phone off the hook as I can.
Thanks, sir.
He needs you back at the office.
I got it.
Okay.
Like I said, the people just want to know that things are moving, and they don't see things if you're not putting it out there forward. They looking at things that's being done, and that's what I get the phone calls from.
Okay,
yeah,
we'll work on.
I
thank you for coming.
I appreciate you.
Tell them I appreciate y'all coming, guys.
Now, Mayor,
appreciate it, man. Take it easy.
On your shirt?
No, I think it's already been there for you.
Oh, okay.
So thank you very much for coming, and I think you handled it very well.
Thank you.
Miss George, I apologize. I don't mean to sound. And I know she's doing
Give her a chance, and if she don't, then you can write about her too.
Yeah.
Once she asks all the questions, she don't keep up word.
The problem that is, though, I do ask the questions of council and others too. Since she's saying to go back to the council because they control the money, well, I ask the council, and I don't get nothing from that either.
Yeah, I know.
So how the circus works.
How it works. I know.
And my main thing is that we just want to make sure this gets going.
Well, it'll get done.
And I know a lot of stuff don't get done if it's not throwed up and embarrassing.
I understand.
You know that too.
Yeah.
So.
Well, look, I'm so good to see you.
Look, man, me too. And I thank you for your help too. And like I said, I know it's still got to go through this administration here.
Yeah, I think they'll do it right. This is critical. Right?
Well, as an ADA and being in compliance, and I know those are regulations and not laws, but they are regulations and rules. But once it's broken, and and it should be on a first priority,
right.
And not side at the price of that side would have fixed this. I promise you.
Well, I hope in between now and the New Year we have all this.
Yes, sir. I thank you, sir, too, and I appreciate you coming out, Miss George. Thank you very much.
Enjoy it very much.
And
Listen, I said to the city attorney, and I even sent the president of the council an email when I saw what was going on at the amphitheater and the park out there area, and the disparaging things that were being said about the city that were not justified. Even the former mayor met him at that location to try to explain what was going on with that situation, and had asked me to come down because not the former mayor George Evans met him at the site to explain to him what went on, and had the contractor who put the equipment there. My concern was we should not be paying someone to say disparaging things about the city. That's my point. That's my point.
Okay, well there's a line there where it becomes legal and not legal. I mean, that's what I'm trying to get to here, because you can create lawsuits and whatnot. Well, when it comes to that, just because you don't like it doesn't mean it's illegal.
Well, at this point, listen, I have a responsibility we have a responsibility to protect the name and character of this institution. I'm not talking about the council, I'm talking about the city of Selma. And we should not be paying someone to put out disparaging information about our community. We shouldn't.
But we cannot restrict our First Amendment rights.
I'm not restricting First Amendment rights, but what I am doing is saying I'm not going to pay somebody to do what they're doing. If they want to do it, go ahead. But I'm not going to pay you to do it. So now I said to the city attorney, that contract needs to be terminated. And if the council wants to reinstate the contract under those conditions, what you know, do so. But I said it needed to be terminated.
And that is